Hogwarts inaccuracies.
Okay, so what's there to talk about with the Hogwarts scene? Now it's back. What did you think about Hogwarts?
So this is like a bonus section
This is.
where I'm going to moan about Hogwarts.
Well, take it away, because I have no real opinions here. It was Hogwarts to me. I
Okay.
mentioned the uniform, but that's about it.
So, I am someone who, for a reason I won't fully go into, I know a lot about how Hogwarts is constructed. I know a lot about its architectural layout, and I know about its architectural layout throughout the films. I could tell you the many changes that happened to the castle over the years.
Please don't, but impressive skill nonetheless.
Well, seeing as you asked.
Oh, of course.
Things
I did,
like
yeah.
the addition of the astronomy tower in Half-Blood Prince.
Oh, the astronomy tower.
Because when they got to Half-Blood Prince, they suddenly realised, oh shit, we need somewhere really tall for Dumbledore to fall off and die.
Astronomy tower.
Let's put in an astronomy tower.
Okay,
and that
fair.
replaced a pre-existing tower. Where that tower is sat is where the astronomy tower is later sat.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I had no idea.
I'm sure that is interesting.
Yeah, especially to all our audience.
Another interesting
Little
thing
tidbit. Yeah.
is in Philosopher's Stone, they don't have the entrance courtyard. And
Oh.
if there is a visual element to this, maybe I'll show you a picture of the entrance courtyard. You're sure you recognise it. It's where like Professor Trelawney was fired. I'm sure you remember in Order of the Phoenix.
I do actually remember that bit
Yeah.
though, surprisingly.
That courtyard doesn't exist in where it doesn't exist at all
In the first
in
film.
the first film, and possibly Chamber of Secrets as well.
Oh, so they had to add that in for the
yeah.
future scenes, right?
And then once they'd added that courtyard, they also had a viaduct that connected that courtyard to another section of the castle, which I think is called the West Wing.
The West Wing of the
This
castle,
is
right?
good.
That's technical, this is.
Yep.
This is getting in depth.
So just remember that the viaduct connects from two internal parts of the castle.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
That's what it's.
West Wing Castle.
So then the producers of the films
Uh-huh.
they get to the Deathly Hallows.
Great films.
And great films, yeah. And they decide, we need to have some action scenes happen at Hogwarts. We need some big epic action
The
scenes.
Battle of Hogwarts, yeah.
And they realise part of the problem they've got is that it's established that you can't apparate into Hogwarts, so you can't easily jump into Hogwarts.
Yeah.
So you've got a problem where you've got outside enemies that need to be able to get into the internal castle.
Yeah. And obviously, one doesn't just walk into Mordor.
No.
Or Hogwarts, in this case.
And I think what happened was the producers of the film, they thought about all of the ways you can get into Hogwarts, and one way you get into Hogwarts, there's a big open grassy field, which is kind of where like the Quidditch pitch is.
Yeah.
You could go in that way, but it's just a big field. I don't even know how interesting that would look visually. So they were like, oh, it'd be really good if they came across on a bridge, because bridges you can defend easily.
Oh, definitely.
That's like a very traditional kind of like defense
A choke point.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you.
And they were like, right, so what bridges do we have? There's one bridge that connects Hogwarts to the outside, and
West
that goes
Wing.
No,
Oh, sorry.
no,
Not the West
no,
Wing.
actually.
Oh, a different bridge entirely.
No,
Wow.
it connects to a courtyard that they added in Prison of Azkaban, which is where I'm sure you remember, where the executioner is sharpening his blade.
I
That
do remember
courtyard
that.
appears a lot throughout Prison of Azkaban. It's actually a redressing of the other courtyard, but that's irrelevant.
Oh my gosh.
It's all lies.
All these tangents of this spider's web. I'm getting lost in it, to be honest.
That courtyard, it's got a big clock tower, so I kind of think of it as the clock tower courtyard.
That's good.
That's
a nice-
connected
Yeah.
to that wooden bridge where Lupin and Harry stand. A lot of this was added in Prison of Azkaban, you see.
Yeah.
And that connects to that. There's like those stones that then go down to Hagrid's house.
Oh yeah.
So that's an area that you could have an outside force invading in.
Think
But
so, yeah.
I think they looked at that and they were like, visually, this doesn't work either. Because to get up to that bridge, you've got to go up a hill. That's not very interesting.
Yeah.
You kind of want enemies to look imposing, to be on top of a hill,
Yeah,
coming down.
An invading army, yeah.
Yes.
Whereas you don't want it to be an uphill struggle for
Yeah,
them.
it's not very
Yeah.
intimidating to look down a hill and see a force coming up at you, because you've got the advantage there.
Easily,
So I think
yeah.
they were like, that bridge doesn't suffice.
It doesn't suit their purposes. So what did they do because of that?
Well, they took an existing bridge, the viaduct,
Oh.
that connected the courtyard to the West
To
Wing.
the West Wing, as I remember.
And they decided to shift where this viaduct connects to. So instead of being from one internal point, I can see you look disgusted.
Well, disgusted is a bit strong. Confused might be better, but
They changed it from connecting the courtyard to
The
to
West
another
Wing.
internal part of the West Wing,
thank you.
and instead connected to a random field. Which,
Huh.
to be fair, logistically from a Hogwarts point of view, doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't know why would they need
A random
they
field.
get into Hogwarts by boats
They-
or by carriages,
Yeah.
and the carriages go over the flatland. You can't.
Oh, so a hill would be useless to them. Why are they
It
going
would
there?
be strange. It would be
Yeah.
too much work for those
Those
winged demon horses.
Those poor death horses, if I remember correctly, the shadow beasts. So
That's a strange element.
Yeah.
That's deliberately horrifying for any child that's
you've
already
seen-
gone through trauma
Yeah.
to then have to see winged
yeah.
demons.
Have you seen someone who's died? Well, why don't you look at like the Grim Reaper horses that we use to get you kids into Hogwarts?
Instead of
Yay.
just using the boats like the first years do.
Or maybe just some nicer animal, really, that isn't
Yeah.
so related to death.
They could have a train as well. They could have another train. Maybe.
We've
I
seen
don't know.
trains in the films. Trains are quite effective. But no, death horses.
Death horses. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. The open
So
field.
they made this bridge specifically to make for cool action sequences. And to be fair, it is kind of cool. Like they've got the big giants running down the bridge and stuff.
Which, fun fact, in the film, some of those giants actually use the Quidditch hoops as weapons.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They-
I'm gonna have to watch it again.
At least one of them, I recall, had sort of a broken hoop. You know, it was
Oh,
like
wow.
half the hoop, and it was using that as a weapon in the Battle of Hogwarts.
That's like a taunt. That's like, look, I've took this thing that you love.
exactly.
And I'm gonna kill you.
I'm
with
gonna
it.
smack you with it. But wait, doesn't that include another logistical issue then? That giant would have gone through the Quidditch field
Yeah.
to pick that up.
And the Quidditch field isn't around where that viaduct is.
Well,
This is bullshit.
they've done so many bad things with this.
Ugh.
I don't know how they expect us to like these films.
But honestly, like it did actually annoy me watching Deathly Hallows because I was like, that's wrong.
You realised it at the time.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Why? I knew something was off. It was only in later years that I was like fully nerded out and
Your
found out
spider
why.
senses were tingling, and then you thought, I've got to do some research into
Yeah.
why this was so wrong.
They also massively. This is another massive tangent. They massively change the inside of Hogwarts for Deathly Hallows because originally you walk in through from the entrance courtyard. You're walking through the big doors, and then the Great Hall. That's like facing you. That's how it works.
Straight in front of you.
To
Okay.
your right is where you go up to the magic staircases.
Oh, the
bit,
ones that move around.
What do they call it? Yeah, the grand staircase or
Something-
tower.
We know what you're on about.
Yeah.
The moving staircases that lead mainly to the
Like the common room and
common rooms.
the other
yes.
floors. And,
Yeah.
in Deathly Hallows, there's a new massive staircase there for no apparent reason.
Huh.
And it really bugs me from a point of view of rewatching it because you don't. For me, it doesn't feel like the Hogwarts that I know. So then I'm not as emotionally kind of connected. If it was like, if I could see the moving staircases as it's meant to be there, I'd be like, oh no, the staircase. Well, I guess I
the
would be
poor
really.
staircases.
Oh no, the staircases.
I loved the staircases.
But it just feels wrong. It's like it's not right, and that bugs me.
I think I get you. Like, obviously, I can't compare as much because I was just going along for the ride, really. But if the Hogwarts school itself was so different during the battle, then it would be harder to get into it to understand, you know. So what's the tactical value of defending this side of it? Is the Great Hall just there, or is this just a random corridor they're blocking off from the enemies? You couldn't be sure if everything suddenly changed to make some better wide shots of the battle going on.
And that is what it was. It was just make it look more cinematic, I think.
Right.
And another little aspect of Harry Potter is that for a lot of the first few films, they had a massive model of Hogwarts, which you can go and see at that Warner Brothers studio tour.
A physical, actual
A physical, created model.
construction, right.
And I think they kind of used that for the first couple of films, and then they kind of started mixing it with CGI for a couple of the later films.
Right.
But then, when it came to Deathly Hallows, I think it was the first time they did a proper, massive, CGI model of Hogwarts.
Okay, all digital.
Yeah, which would presumably be saved on a hard drive somewhere.
Potentially, yes.
So then, comes to Fantastic Beasts.
Oh,
now,
tying back in, yeah.
This film is set in 1927.
Oh no.
The first Harry Potter film, I don't know when it's set. Somewhere in the 90s.
Let's say at least about 60 to 70 years in future.
Yeah.
Okay.
But crucially, the first Harry Potter film set obviously before the last Harry Potter film, Deathly Hallows,
Obviously.
where all of these changes had been made to the castle by that point. They'd got an astronomy tower added. They'd got the bridge had changed.
You can just about assume it's some renovations for bizarre reasons in the case of the bridge
magic
moving,
castle,
but,
you know.
they wanted to connect to a field. Maybe they were going to make a new Quidditch pitch there that year. We don't know.
They did their extension for the summer holidays.
Exactly. They had some traffic lights up. It was a bit awkward for the students coming in. There were some complaints. They delayed it. That's fair.
Yeah. So obviously, if it's set in 1927, you would expect the castle to look how it was in the first Harry Potter film, or probably even different because it's quite a significant amount of time.
Yeah,
the castle changed a lot in those 6 years Harry was there, 7 years. So.
Maybe there'll be less buildings. It'd look less complete potentially, even if it is a stone building. Yeah,
you think that. What's interesting is that.
Oh no!
What? It's for the viaduct. The viaduct that connects the courtyard that doesn't exist in Philosopher's Stone to the West Wing. The viaduct is there. And it's connecting to a hill, like it is in Deathly Hallows.
The same hill?
Yeah, and then they walk through the entrance courtyard, which didn't exist in Philosopher's Stone. There was a trailer for Fantastic Beasts 2. There was. And they showed Hogwarts, and immediately I was like, oh, Hogwarts!
You were right away noticing it. Yeah.
And then they teleported in. Sorry, apparated.
Not teleport. Key difference. Stupid.
They apparated into that bridge. I was like, that bridge didn't exist. This is pre Deathly Hallows. Why is that bridge there?
This doesn't make any sense. And they've apparated into Hogwarts, which, if I'm led to believe, is that something that
you're not meant to go to? But I'm not sure. Maybe if you're the Ministry.
Oh, they have a pass. Yeah, that's fair. But...
It's possible. Maybe they introduced the apparating rule after. Maybe there'll be an interesting reason in these films why they introduced that rule.
That would be amazing.
That'd be interesting.
Maybe. After this podcast, they'll publish a new book in the series, Harry Potter, A History of the Renovations of Hogwarts, where it'll detail every single little bit of construction that was done. It'll give an exact date. It'll give a reason why Dumbledore, at some years, actually went, you know what, I did quite like the bridge connecting to the random field.
I'm going to bring that back.
Let's have that back. I think it would be a great idea, as long as we don't get, invaded anytime soon. It'd be lovely.
Well, thinking about it, that bridge connects to that hill after Dumbledore dies, and Dumbledore at this point is part of Hogwarts. He's maybe Dumbledore did really hate that bridge, and he was looking at that bridge, thinking, "God, if we have this bridge, we could very easily be invaded by a bunch of trolls and Voldemort followers,
Death Eaters,
that didn't exist at the time."
He was thinking it.
He was thinking ahead.
Exactly. He's that kind of guy. Yeah.
And he looked at that bridge and he was like, that's a very poor choice.
We have to change it.
We have to change this. If I become headmaster, which I'm going to try and become,
give it my best shot.
The first thing I'm doing, I'm going to get rid of that bloody viaduct. I'm going to move that viaduct. I'm going to make it connect to the West Wing. Yeah. And also, I've always hated this bloody entrance courtyard. I'm just going to get rid of it. I'm going to clear that out. I'm going to save on the budget.
And do you know what I think he also said, actually?
Sure.
He looked at the astronomy tower and went, bloody hell, someone could fall off that and die. He said, we've got to get rid of that.
That's dangerous.
We've not even got any proper railings. There's literally just a doorway to the outside. Someone could get pushed off of that and die. We need to just strip that out. Let's get rid of it. It will be a safer place. This is a kid's school, for Christ's sake. We need to do better. Let's not have any troll invading bridges, and let's not have any push off to death astronomy towers. And he sorted that. He did.
Yeah.
And now Dumbledore went, and it's all gone to shit as a result. They put the bridge back against his wishes, and it's horrible now.
Then they get invaded.
They do. Oh. Not respecting Dumbledore's wishes, and that's where it gets them. Tut tut.